Well, now with the country in lockdown level 1, provincial and regional tourism has opened up once again. Many people have taken to travelling and round tripping. But what is the state of our roads? Let's check in now with our team. Travelling to Mpumalanga this morning, Slindelo Masakane is part of that team. Let's see what she's found. Slee, a very good morning to you. Yes, we've been encouraging people to sort of travel local if they haven't been able to travel abroad. But what is the state of the roads as they try to find somewhere to just take a break in these difficult times?
Yes, Vivek, I think we know that when it comes to the state of some of our roads, when it comes to municipalities and the inner cities, they are a little bit dilapidated, or should I say a lot, when it comes to Johannesburg in particular. We have actually just been on mostly the national roads making our way to Mpumalanga. We started off on the M1, then we off-ramped onto the N3, and then eventually onto the N12. And then we're now on the N4 on our way to the Kruger National Park. We're about 70 or 80 k's out of Nelspruit at this point. And our journey so far, I must say, has been quite smooth because most of the national roads, especially those ones that are interprovincial, are maintained to some extent. But I think as we entered Mpumalanga, just after Patfontein, going into Emalahleni, we started to see a lot of these roadworks that are taking place on the national roads. So what will happen is that you'll find that the road has 3 lanes, but as you start to see the signs that there are roadworks, then the lane lessens. So you go from 3 lanes to 2 lanes, eventually to 1 lane, which essentially delays your trip as you're traveling. So what we're doing right now, Tebogo and I are actually going through what we understand to be a stop and go. In fact, it's our second stop and go so far on our way to the Kruger National Park, and we're actually about to exit this particular stop and go. We were lucky enough that once we approached these stop and goes, and that means basically when you're stopping and going is that one side of traffic has to stop, so to allow the other side of traffic traveling in the opposite direction to move past that particular stretch of road, because you will find that only 1 lane is operational, as you can see, meaning that we have to give each other a chance as traffic going in opposite directions to move in the opposite directions that we're going in. So we're about to exit this particular stop and go, which is actually at the off-ramp in terms of us now going into Nelspruit. We're still on the N4, and we know that there are a number actually of these stop and goes, and you can see now on my right the traffic that is trying to go into this particular stop and go is now starting to pile up, basically. So we were lucky enough, though, Yuveka, that when we got to these stop and goes, we were literally arriving as the opposite side of traffic was kind of finishing, so that it allowed our side of traffic to move towards Nelspruit. So that's the situation right now, and we understand that it's a bit problematic, especially when it does come to people wanting to travel to Mpumalanga, because, you know, it delays your trip and you want to get to your destination as soon as possible.
Well, I can't help but notice the number of heavy vehicles, those massive trucks as well. I mean, and I wonder if how big a part that plays in sort of the deterioration of the roads along that route. I mean, for years, many people have said, you know, why don't we give trucks just a different route to take? Why don't we create different routes for those as well? So lots of trucks as we were chatting to you now, and I wonder if that plays a big part in it.
I think it certainly does, Yuveka. You know, especially the travel between Mpumalanga and Johannesburg. We have a lot of trucks that are coming from Mozambique, you know, from across the borders, trucks that are delivering goods and so forth. And so I think that, of course, does have an effect on the road. But I think mostly it lies with government and with government officials responsible for the maintenance of roads to ensure that they upkeep these roads, especially the national ones, where you are seeing a lot of movement when it comes to not only just local vehicles, but people moving across the border. And we know that opposition parties, especially here in Mpumalanga, have raised this issue around the maintenance of roads, saying that government needs to step up to ensure that the issue of potholes and these stop and goes that we're seeing on these national roads, that these roadworks actually are done speedily and quickly, so that it doesn't deter people from actually coming to visit, to come and visit Mpumalanga. Because as you can see, it's quite a beautiful scenic route when you're making your way through to Nelspruit, through to whatever destination you're going to here in Mpumalanga. And I think it would be quite sad to have people being deterred by the fact that the roads are in bad condition.
And I was just wondering about that, whether, you know, the road conditions, I mean, it would certainly stop me from sort of taking a trip, because I would just imagine that I would be even more stressed getting to my holiday destination than I was in the first place. Well, Slindela Masakane, thanks so much. Get there safely to wherever you are. We'll catch up with you on your journey throughout the day.